Okay, so welcome again. I hope my connection remains stable. Um, so maybe first of all, something about the STARTS initiative. So the STARTS Afropean Intelligence Project is an initiative of the European STARTS program. The STARTS program is an initiative of the European Commission, and it bridges science, technology, and arts. And it really looks at artistic practices as a catalyzer or an initiative to create innovation and to tackle social, ecologic, and economical challenges. So through its residency program and through the years, we had more than 250 artist residencies already through different programs. We try to value scientists and artists equally in innovation projects. So the STARTS program also looks at mainly at digital technologies and how artists can contribute to the innovation or a more holistic innovation of digital technologies. So the Afropean Intelligence Program promotes cross-continental connection between Africa and Europe. So we are a consortium of partners based in Europe and collaborating with institutions, cultural institutions in Africa. So on the map here, you can see that within Europe, there are the organization CLUAN, there is the Museum for Central Africa in Tervuren in Brussels, there is Ars Electronica in Linz, Austria, and there is Chronique in Marseille, France. And then we have the Gallery of Codes in Nigeria, we have Interference in Tunisia, we have Pizzeria in Egypt, we have Fakugezi and Wits University in South Africa, Johannesburg. We have Critica art projects in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Académie des Beaux-Arts or the Academy of Fine Arts of Kinshasa, also in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So we are making pairs for this residency. So each residency is hosted by one European cultural partner and one African partner. And we will get to it more later to find out who are the pairs in this consortium. So first of all, through this project, we really want to stimulate learning across continents and deepening our understanding of this technological and social and cultural perspective from both African and European contexts. The Residencies Program also wants to focus on topics that are at the core of today's African concerns, such as diaspora, the restitution, post-colonialism, identity, and cultural heritage. But we also have a strong focus on artificial intelligence in this project. So we hope that we together can develop and share new narratives for global AI development that reflects collective societal values and societal concerns more globally. So as a conceptual framework, there is a bridging of two words here in this project, Afropean and intelligence. So through these projects, we really want to stimulate interactions between Africa and Europe and providing a crucial platform to critically examine AI, through the lens of African cultures and identities, but also by bringing together different experts in the field of AI from both Europe and Africa, by bringing together cultural organizations based in Europe and Africa, and tackle together challenges that we are faced with by AI, such as democracy, restitution, sustainable development, disinformation, We also want to highlight the African perspectives in the design and the development and the implementation of digital technologies. How can we ensure a more equitable but also cultural respectful approach to the development of artificial intelligence? And what are the roles of artists in or the potential to shape this new imaginary for the future at the intersection of art, science, and technology? So we really hope to highlight non-Western epistemologies, aesthetics, and experience to shape the future of technologies and to encourage co-creation across borders, disciplines. So the residencies program, we have 10 residencies in total. That will take place in 6 African countries, three in Nigeria, South Africa, Tunisia, Egypt, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The duration of each residency is 8 months, starting in September 2025 and ending in April 26. So we also provide some support and different activities throughout the residencies program. So we will start with a 5-day long boot camp focused on AI, not only technically, but also on the ethics of AI in November 25 in Johannesburg, South Africa. And this bootcamp will be organized by Ars Electronica, one of our consortium partners as well. And throughout the residencies program, the artists are expected to conduct the residency at the host institution in Africa. So the residencies will not take place in the European organizations, but all residencies will take place at the cultural organizations in Africa. So looking a bit at timeline for this residency. So we start in September 25. So the open call has been launched and will end of June. So first we will go in July and August, we go through a selection and a contracting phase. And in September 2025, we actually start the residency process. So there, the first months will be really looking at getting to know your partners and fine-tuning your projects and concepts for this residency. And then we will meet for a first time all together in Johannesburg during a 5-day long workshop focused on AI, where we hope to have some hands-on workshops on different AI technologies, but also discuss more ethical aspects related to AI developments. So it will not only be technical and practical, but also more looking at AI from a critical point of view. So from there on, residencies run until April 26, and then we go into a dissemination phase from May, June 26. So in total, 8 months of residencies. For these residencies, you will be asked to be present at the host institution regularly. And for that, we really recommend you to take a look at the residency characteristics that you can find within each challenge that have much more detail on what exactly is expected in terms of physical presence at the host institution. So this will be different for each residency you apply to. So really take a careful look at each challenge or the challenge you are interested into applying for to make sure that you have really also understood what is expected from the host institution in terms of physical presence. So during the residency, you will have these on-site working sessions, but you will also have regular online monitoring together with the different parties involved in the residency. And we will also provide expert collaboration through experts in the field of AI that will support you with the development of your projects throughout the residency. So who is involved in each residency? So in each residency, you have one twinning pair, a twinning pair composed of one cultural institution based in Africa and one cultural institution based in Europe. So together they form your residency host. It's important again to note that although it's two cultural organizations, that the residency takes place in the African cultural institution. So the European cultural institutions will be involved and they will provide their knowledge and resources, but you will not be able to make use of the infrastructures of the cultural institutions in Europe. So it's really aimed at the residencies to take place in Africa. In each residency, there will be an innovation catalyst. An innovation catalyst is an intermediary expert from the residency host institution that will connect you, the artist, with all the relevant parties of the residency. So they will be really your main contact point throughout the residency process to put you in contact with experts, with local community. They will be your sparring partner throughout this residency, but also taking care of all the practical arrangements of the residency. Then for each residency, we have a pool of technology experts, mainly in the field of artificial intelligence, that will provide expert know-how and expertise throughout the residency to help you with the production and development of projects. So the technology experts will be coming from both Africa and Europe and will be provided through the residency host institution. At the moment we don't have the technology experts defined yet, but these will be known at the start of your residencies, who the technology experts will be. So in total, we have 10 residencies. So the first one, Intercultural AI, Weaving Worlds Through Art and Algorithms, will be hosted by the Gallery of Codes and will take place in Abuja, Nigeria, and it will be done in collaboration with Gluon. The second residency, Data That Nourishes AI, Food and Nutrition, will also be hosted by the Gallery of Code and will take place in Abuja, Nigeria, also in collaboration with Gluon, as well as the third one, Plural Computation. Then we have two residencies hosted by Isaria in Alexandria, Egypt, in collaboration with Chronique in Marseille. We have one residency number 6, Zazie, an African educational AI model, hosted by Fakugesi Wits University in Johannesburg, South Africa, also in collaboration with Chronique. Residency number 7, Beyond Borders AI Climate Research Justice in Africa, will be hosted by Interference in Tunisia, also in collaboration with Chronique. Residency number 8, Digital Lukasa and Intelligent Archival Tablets, will be hosted by Critica Art Projects in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo in collaboration with the Africa Museum in Belgium. Residency number 9, Provenance and Social Memory, will be hosted by the Academy of Fine Arts, also in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo, in collaboration with the Africa Museum. And last residency, residency number 10, Futurism and Geolocation, also hosted by the Academy of Fine Arts of Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in collaboration with the African Museum. This is just a very brief overview of the residencies. I really encourage you to go through the challenges booklets where you can really find a detailed description of each residency. So the topic of the residency, as well as what the different partners provide in terms of network, expertise, facilities, but also what is requested in terms of physical presence and outputs. This is all really written in detail in the challenges booklet, which you can find on the STARTS website. So what do you get? When participating to this residency, you will receive financial support. So each successful applicant will receive a 20,000 euro grant, which includes your artist fee, but also the travel and accommodation costs that will be needed to go, for example, to the boot camp in Johannesburg, but also to meet or to work at your residency host institution in one of the African countries. It will also include your subsistence and also all material and production costs that are related to the making and the development of your final outcome or the research during this residency. So you will also be supported during these 8 months. So you will receive guidance by the residency hosts, the innovation catalysts, and the technology experts that will support you throughout this residency program. So this will be quite an intense collaboration where you will sit down on a regular basis with all these 3 stakeholders to co-develop and co-create your project. You will have access to scientific and technological knowledge through the experts that we will provide. We will also, well, through participating through the European, through the STARTS project, you will get access to the European STARTS network and visibility on the platforms of both starts.eu as well as the different partners that are involved. So what do we expect in return, or what is expected from you when you would be selected to participate to this residency program? So we will ask to participate in regular follow-up meetings organized by the residency host. The frequency of these meetings will be decided upon individually by the residency host institution and yourself, but it's, be aware that at least one time monthly or maybe even bi-weekly follow-up meetings can be organized online just to have regular catch-ups on how the project is moving forward. Then we will ask you to attend the AI Bootcamp in Johannesburg in South Africa from 7 until 11 November in 2025. We will also ask you to participate in at least one on-site local event at the cultural institution in Africa to present the results of your residency. Again, the form of how this should be presented can be found in the challenge description of each residency. So yeah, the form of how, or the formats of how this will be presented can be different for each residency. Sometimes there will be festivals at the end of the residency. Other parties might host lectures or workshops. So please do have a look at each challenge description for more information on how the local event will take shape for your residency. We also ask you to deliver visual, textual, or any other media that we can use to communicate about your project throughout the duration. So to announce your participation in this residency program, and then throughout the project to communicate about development and the final outcomes of your projects through websites, social media, and any other communication channels of both STARTS.eu as well as the platforms of the different partners involved in this. We will also ask you to contribute to an impact analysis that will be undertaken by the consortium at the end of the project. Do not expect a big report here, but it's rather in the form of a questionnaire to see how, to understand better how you experience this residency and to learn from your experience. Finally, each residency should deliver a final presentable for outcome that is related to the residency. And what do we mean by possible final outcomes? It means that all outcomes should be presented in a format that can be presented to an audience. So we of course hope that these residencies result in different artistic works that include a digital component, since the project is very much focused on AI. We hope that all the resulting artworks result in a final artistic work, be it a performance or an installation. It can take different shapes, but it should include a digital component in the form of an artistic installation, or it can also be a fully digital output. But the digital element is a very important element as an outcome of the project. It should not only be artistic works, we also encourage extra outputs next to the artistic works, such as research outputs, publications, research papers that can be a result of creation.
Hello, so that's me. I think that, yeah, we said that I would share my screen directly, no? That would be more simple. So let me do it. I hope you are following. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat already if you want. Or you can also wait the end of the session and we will look at all the questions when we are finished. So, okay, so I will talk to you more about the open call in itself, the process for the submission, the different elements of the open call, and yeah, so if you have any questions, you let me know. All that I will say is included, or almost everything, in the guide for applicants. And I would insist on this element to tell you that in the guide for applicants that you have in the open call, in the page of the open call on the STARTS website, you really have everything that you need to understand what is expected from you for this open call and to write a strong application. I will come back to it, but I wanted to tell you, and this is why for each section I included where you can find the information on the guide for applicants. So for the eligibility criteria, you can find this on page 14. I will tell you, let's say that the most important element would be that you are a permanent resident or national of any African country. So that's, let's say, a must. If you apply as a collective, then one person, the one that will be, let's say, the contact point for the application should comply this criteria. You should be also able to travel to South Africa when we have the boot camp, and also to the country of your residency host. So that's important. And note that the visa costs for this trip are covered by your grant. So this is up to you also to arrange your visa and your travels for both South Africa and Congo or Tunisia, or the host of your challenge, of your residency. Then you should be able also to issue invoices to receive your grant. You should not be affiliated to any partner, so the partners in Europe or in Africa of the project. And this is a rule that applies to all the candidates or the residency of STARTS, to make sure that not all we always have the same artists that are granted for STARTS residency. So the rule is that if you have been granted for STARTS residency in 2025 or 2026, then you are not eligible. Then you must justify also of a practice, an artistic practice of, let's say, having an artistic practice in the last 5 years, but also to prove to submit a portfolio with a track record. And you should also be the primary creator of the projects that you will present in your application. And then legal stuff, let's say, not being under liquidation or, condemned by the European Union, these kind of things you have here as a references. So now I will talk about the different elements of the application. You can find this on page 15 on the guide for applicants. So basically the application is made of 4 elements. So an online application form that we will come back to everything. A short CV, a portfolio, and then sketches and images and videos. So the submission, you have this also in the web page of the open call. You have different, I think at different places, you have the button to click to start your application online. So let's start with the easy thing, let's say. So you have a short CV. Okay, easy one. So the idea is that it's a short CV. So please don't put something that is 10 pages, because the evaluators, they won't take the time to read 10 pages of CV. That's not the point. The point is that we managed to see who you are, what is your experience, and what is your background. It's just that. So keep it simple. And I would say maximum 2 pages. Then we ask also a portfolio. So same, keep it short. I know that in applications you want to say everything and to show that you are the best for the residency, etc., and that you have a lot of experience, but you have also to see the other side. For the evaluators, if you send a document that is 20 pages, it's too long. So we prefer if you keep it short, but also, I mean, use, images, some text, but not long text to explain your work, maybe with keywords, in bold, pam, okay, easy to read. And we can understand what is your work. And the idea here is also not to put everything that you have done, but to put the works that are more significant, that are more related to your project, to the proposals that you are doing for your residency, and that we can also that illustrate the style of the work that you are thinking for the application. So that's the point. And then sketches, images, or video is more to illustrate your proposal, to help the evaluators to visualize what is your idea, because of course with the text, it's maybe more difficult to imagine what you have in mind. And so this is to, let's say, to have another kind of support to understand better what you have in mind. So these three elements, they are attachments. So you have to prepare files to attach to your application. Then we will go through some elements of the application form. Maybe you didn't start yet, so to just give you an overview. So you arrive on this first page when you click on the link. And so the first thing that you have to do is to choose if you want to do your application in English or in French. So you have this option. For challenges 8, 9, and 10, you can submit in French because there will be one of the languages of the residency for the Congolese residencies. But then for the other residencies, you are asked to submit in English. So first, of course, first to start your application, you have to choose your challenge. Maybe it's no need to say it. So you will know already what are the requirements for your specific application. So then you go through, let's say, the application form, and you have different tabs. You have identity and postal address. That is, let's say, legal information about you, your nationality, etc. Easy. And then you go to the tab proposal. So here you have to choose your challenge, only one. And then you have the project description, what are the expected outcome and the expected impact. I say it simplified because, of course, in the questions you have more detailed. But just to let you know where you have to put what information. And then you have another tab that is called collaboration. And here, these are these questions. So what is your motivation to apply to the challenge? What is the learning that you expect for you and for the others? What is the use of the resources provided by the host that you will make? So if there are equipments or access to, I don't know, archives or whatever, how you will integrate this and how you will use this in your project and your residency. What is your availability and what is the budget? So let's say that proposal and collaboration are really the heart of the application, because then identity, postal address, statistical questions, it's more, legal things. And then you have here the documents that we have talked about here to attach, and then you are ready to submit the form. And if I'm not mistaken, once you have submitted the form, you can't touch it anymore. I have a doubt if we can come back to it, but I don't think so. I think once it's done, it's done. So what you can do is that you can save and come back to it. You are not obliged to do all in once. So you can, you can take time to complete all the fields, but then once it's submitted, it's done. If you ever, let's say, you submit the form and then you think, no, 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 I made a mistake, I forgot something that was super, super important, and you want to do another application, that's possible until the deadline. But then please send us an email. I will put the contact of Ramona at the end, and you have it also in the open call. But send us an email and explain the situation, because otherwise, if we have two applications with the same name, that can be confusing for us, and we don't know exactly what is the application that you want for us to consider. So it's better to explain the situation. Okay, so that's for the, let's say, what you see when you are in the online form. I want to talk to you more about the budget, because I know that it's always stress for you to see how you have to complete your budget. So for this application, we wanted to keep it simple. We try to simplify it at maximum. Also, we know that for you at this stage of the application, it's not easy to build a budget, because maybe you don't have exactly in mind what you will need, etc. So at this stage, what we ask is for you to separate your costs and to do an estimation between three categories. So the fees for you, the travels, and the research and creation and production costs. So basically, these are the three big categories. So what we consider as fees is for you as an applicant, for individual artists, or for the collective that will apply to the residency. That's what it is, the fee. It's not a payment that you will do to someone else that participates to your residency. For example, I don't know, if you call like a designer at some point, they are not counted in fee, they are in research, creation, and production costs. That's the difference. So basically, the fee is your salary as an artist. So we didn't want to put a limit. In many open calls, you have a limit of percentage of what is the fee for the artist and the between the different categories. For us, we wanted to let you free, let's say, to define what is your fee for this project. But what is important is that you let room for the other costs. I don't think it would be very strategic to put 20K as a fee in your residency, because then it means that you don't consider that you have to travel at least in Johannesburg for 5 days. Maybe you live in the city where your residency will happen, so maybe you don't have travel costs in this sense. But then it means also that you don't consider any cost for production or for creation. So that would be, maybe that would show that you don't consider exactly what will happen in your residency. So you don't have a limit for the fees, but what you have to pay attention to is that you are able to travel, and that you are able to develop your residency. If you need, I don't know, materials, equipment, utilities, if you need to call, I don't know, a developer, designer, as I said, or so other people that could also be involved in the development of your residency, you have to count them in the third category. So I hope it's clear. If you have questions, of course, we will come back to it. Something that is important to say is that the form of the grant is actual cost. So it means that you will have to keep the record of your expenses. in invoices, receipts, etc. So we know that sometimes in African countries, it's not so easy when you are in the field to get receipts. So this is something that we will consider. We will find a solution. But just keep in mind that you will have to report your costs and that you will be reimbursed on the basis of these invoices that you will provide. To be eligible, the costs, of course, they have to be done in the frame of your residency, and you have to justify it. It has to make sense. That is for the residencies. A word about the payments and reporting. So you also have in mind how it will happen during the residency. So again, we wanted to make it simple at maximum. So you have 8 months of residency, and what will happen is that about around months 4, you will have we will have so African, European partners, other people that are involved in the monitoring of your residency, and you, what we said, an evaluation session. Yeah, we called it this way. So it will be, I think, online. So it's not something written. It will be just like a 1 hour, 1 hour and a half session to evaluate where you are in your residency. So it's more like a focus group or an interview or something that is more informal, let's say. So it's not a report that you have to provide. So the only report that you will have to write is at the end. So it's one report to explain your activities, etc. And it should be no more than 4 pages. So just to tell you that we have this attention of not overwhelm you with reporting and administrative questions, etc. And there will be 3 payments. The first one of 40%, the second one after this evaluation session at month 4 of 35% of the grant, and then the remaining balance at the end. The remaining balance means that upon the presentation of the receipts, then we will be able to reimburse you all the cost of your residency. Okay, now I have some tips for you. So what I wanted to tell you first is that please read carefully the guide for applicants and the challenges booklet that are in the open call, because they are really your documents of reference to understand what is the open call and all the elements that you have to take into account. So that's super important. That you read the challenges booklet, that you really have in mind the text that was made by the partners to issue the challenge that you will answer to. And also, if you see the open call on the website of STARTS, the page where you have the explanation, it's really a short, light version of the open call. Really, where you have all explained is in the guide for applicants. So this is really important. Then for the questions, if you still have questions before contacting us, you can refer to the FAQ, so the page that is on the STARTS website, so where we have tried to really put ourselves in your shoes as applicants and answer all the questions that you could have. So you can also refer to it if you have any question. You will see in the application form that the questions, for each question, you have a limited amount of characters. So I know that it can be frustrating sometimes because you have the feeling that you can't really express what you have in mind, etc. But let's say that for the evaluators, it's more useful to have a text that is clear and concise than a long text where we have ideas that are everywhere. And, so when you write your application, think about facilitating the life of the evaluator. So be concise and clear, and you have enough characters, I'm sure, to express how is your project. Also make it personal. We know that we all use AI more and more in our daily work, etc. But you know also that AI has a style in itself. So we can see proposals that are made only with AI. So be careful with it. I don't say that you don't have to use it, because if it is very useful for some aspects, but it doesn't replace an application that comes from your guts and that expresses really what you have in mind, even if it's not a super English that you have. I think we will prefer that is more personal, that something that is really, in a robotic style, that comes only from AI. So just that's a point of attention about this. And then one more tip that is also super important, read the selection criteria. That's really, really important, because you have to see that when the evaluators will see the applications, they will have a grid where they, sorry, I see people in the reading room. Okay. So the evaluators, they will be asked to score the applications according to three main criteria. That is excellence, implementation, and impact. So when you write your application, the idea is that you keep in mind, okay, do I give enough information and enough elements for the evaluators to give me the maximum score for excellence, for implementation, and for impact? And you have also this in the guide for applicants, so it's really transparent as process. So you know already how you will be scored. And so the idea, I don't read everything here because this is something that you have in the guide for applicants, but let's say that the excellence is your ID. So what you have in mind, how you respond to the challenge, the artistic quality, the transdisciplinarity aspect also of your project, etc. So that's more the conceptual approach, let's say. Implementation is how you explain how will happen the residency. So in terms of collaboration, with diverse stakeholders that take part in your residency, so that are the hosts, but also the experts in AI, the European partners, etc. So this implies that you have written the challenge, that you have understood the people that will be involved, that you know who is gluon. If you apply for the residency of Gallery of Code, you know Gallery of Code, you know what they do, and you can imagine how you will make the best use of their resources in your residency. What is also the feasibility of what you want to tell, because of course 8 months, it's quite a long residency if you compare to other programs, but it's not 2 years. And it's not 2 weeks also. So it has to be coherent. You have 8 months, you have your own availability. So make a coherent plan to produce the final outcome that you want to propose. And also the final outcome in itself, it has to make sense with the challenge, with STARTS, what is, the spirit of STARTS. So I would say also look at the other STARTS projects, what they have done. You can have a look also at the at the first edition of Starts in Africa. You can see the results. So, show that you have understood what you can do in these 8 month residencies and what would be the final outcome. And then the third criteria is impact. So it's more, the collaborative practices at regional or local level, raise awareness, what will be the impact also at artistic level, technological or scientific level, in terms of sustainability and in terms also of the potential multiplier effect that it could have. So this will be the three criteria that will be scored. So pay attention, of course, to this. And I see a lot of questions since I am talking in the chat, so I will have a look. But just to end, to tell you the timeline of the open call in itself. So the deadline to submit your proposals is 27th of June. So you still have time to more than a month to really, take time for your application. Ask your questions if you have, etc. And then until, so there will be a first phase of evaluation. You have all this also in the guide for applicants if you want to see the different steps of the evaluation until the 3 or 4 shortlisted for each challenge will be called for a pitch day. So a pitch day is basically you are asked to present your project, your proposal. I think it's 10 minutes or maybe 15. I don't remember exactly. And then we have a chat. You have a chat with the evaluator, the host. So let's say that it's another way for us to understand what is your project. So if you arrive to this top 3 or 4, it's because the proposal was good, it was well explained, the idea fits with the challenge, etc. So you are already on the top of the list. So the idea for the pitch is not really for you to prepare something else or to invent something else. It's more for you to present, with a voice and not just a written, not personalized application. So we can also hear you and we can ask some questions and talk to you. So, I mean, it's not something additional that you have to prepare absolutely. So this will be for each challenge between the 7th and the 11th of July. And then the final announcement will be done by the end of July. In August, it will be the contracting phase. So you will have your first meeting with your host, talk about the contract and, the legal aspects of the residency. You will sign your contract, and then the beginning of the residency officially will be in September. So here it's our contact to Ramona and I. If you have any questions, Ramona is more for the Residencies Program, so for the open call, and me, it's more about the project in general, let's say. We will have a second info session next Tuesday, same hour, where the challenges will be presented. So all the partners will present their challenge, so you can understand better what they ask, etc. And you will have also the possibility. Then we will present all the 10 challenges all together, and then we will break out in rooms where you will have the possibility to discuss with the partners that are in charge of the specific challenges, etc. So it will be a good occasion to know more about each challenge.